Nigeria rebased its GDP from 1990 to 2010, resulting in an 89% increase in the estimated size of the economy. As a result, the country now boasts of having the largest economy in Africa, with an estimated nominal GDP of $510 billion, surpassing South Africa's $352 billion. The exercise also reveals a more diversified economy than previously thought, but the sustenance of that position rests majorly on favorable agriculture harvest. This is one of the reasons for the continuous call for diversification of the Nigerian economy. But stakeholders say so far there's not been enough input from the government.
I'm not doubting it that 2% of our budget is going to agriculture, which is not enough. According to the international standard, it's supposed to be 10% at least, and we are giving less than 2%. So not just giving out money to this sector, but monitoring of it and to eradicate corruption in it. And at the same time, you have to extend this olive tree to the real farmer, not political farmers. The problem we're having in this country, that most of the money that is being budgeted to agri have been going to political farmers or portfolio farmers. Well, when you talk of fertilizers, fertilizer is not the only problem of farmers. Fertilizers are only meant for the people in the crops. What about the people in the animal productions? They don't use fertilizer. So fertilizer they've been using as a yardstick, that the way of curbing corruption. No, farmers' problem go beyond fertilizer. And if you look at the fertilizer, who is importing it? Is it not the government? Who is sharing it? Is it not their friends? So these are all the things we know. Corruption is still down the sectors.
After the farms, processing of crops is meant to form the bedrock of activities for small and medium-scale businesses. The Ogun State Commissioner for Trade and Commerce has a request in this regard.
For any economy to thrive, you need SMEs. And what do you mean by SMEs? They are the drivers of any economy in the world. If we have all these industries and the goods are not getting to the right consumers, it's through the SMEs that the goods and services get to the right consumers. Have industries and everything, but the problem with the SMEs is funding. How they have set chief funds, then they have capacity building. They don't have the way to manage their funds, the financial management capacity and everything. So for me, I will suggest that we create funds for them, we create a market for them, standardization, the quality of goods and services that have been produced, and we ensure that they get to the right market. And even with the SMEs in this country, we can become an export-oriented economy, whereby we send those goods and services out of the country.
The managing director of the Bank of Industry calls for attention to potential which many Nigerians believe is hardly mentioned, least of all invested in.
2013 by United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. The document was titled Making the Most of Africa's Commodities. I think that document speaks very clearly to African countries and in particular to Nigeria. And what he's saying is that we have natural resources that God has blessed us with. We have vast agricultural land, agricultural resources. Can we add value, to those agricultural products domestically? We have solid minerals. Nigeria has 44 solid minerals in commercial quantities, many of which we are not exploring at the moment. We also have, oil and gas resources. We have a lot of crude. We export over 2 million barrels every day. We're actually more of a gas-producing nation than oil-producing nation. Now, so these three resources, can we add value to them domestically? Can we process our agricultural, produce locally? We export cocoa and we import chocolate. Now, whatever we earn exporting cocoa is spent importing chocolate, right? We have a lot of iron ore in the Kogi, Niger, Enugu State corridor of this country, but we have Alaja steel mill, which is, more or less moribund. We also have Ajakuta, which is moribund, and we also have the Alaja, which again was concession, but hasn't really been effective. So we need to also pay attention to solid minerals.
While the industrialists want their needs prioritized, the environmentalists are of the view that giving them attention will automatically impact on other areas of national need, and that's because climate change has been described as the latest challenge to sustainable human development. According to scientific evidence, climate change can impede the nation's development effort, and from Mr. Desmond Majekodumi's findings, the country is already suffering from the impact.
The immediate focus has to be dealing with the massive environmental problems that we're just surmounted with. And what am I talking about? I'm talking